Greetings and welcome to another chapter of the Twin Flame story. I will share with you today how I got the first sign. After I was sick with my lower back for those 3 months until I was able to face the pain that I endured after he told me what he said, that I was not his kind of girl, and it really deeply affected me. I decided that this relationship wasn't going anywhere, so the best thing would be to just break it apart. But when I did that, soon enough, I had this inner calling, like a voice that was telling me, you cannot end this relationship, you need to continue with this. So since he left the door open, I said, okay, I'm going to try. Like 10 days after the first time I ended that relationship, I wrote him and I said, I don't know what it is, but I have this feeling that there's something that we have to do together. I'm going to try. I'm going to really try and like you as a friend, but I cannot guarantee because my feelings are different. And so he said, okay, let's try. At first he was a little hesitant, obviously, but he, little by little, he opened up again and he started just sharing everything that came around in his life. And it was very difficult to continue a relationship just through emails. I mean, he didn't want to chat. I mentioned once, let's chat, and he said, no, just emails. And I said, okay. So we continue with emails, and he never wrote to me on the weekend. If I ever wrote to him on a weekend, he would never answer until Monday because at that moment in time, in 2008, he was jobless. So he was at his brother's house where he had internet. And he spent all day sending resumes and looking for a job. And this was continuous for a couple months, for almost a year. And so he chose that the only way we were going to be in contact was through email. I'll share more about his story so you can understand where he was coming from with all these limitations that he put into the relationship some other time. And I accepted, obviously, because I had this feeling that, okay, there's something I have to do with him. I'll have to figure out what that is. And it got to a point that it was so difficult to see myself involved in such a relationship with a dysfunctional person that didn't even want to relate in a normal way, but he wanted to be in control of the pace of anything that happened. We communicated when he wanted. If I wrote and he didn't want to communicate, he would not answer. But so I had to be there for whenever he wanted things to happen. Obviously, I accepted. The only reason I accepted was because of this feeling that I had, that there was something that we had to do together, but I guess I had to figure it out on the way. And so as time continued and we entered 2009 and we continued to communicate, most of the time it was difficult for me because at the end of almost every communication we had, he would say something to hurt me. It was like I would get hurt by the way he chose to put me down or not regard me as a woman, as a partner for him. And so time went by, and one day I said, I need to find an answer from the universe. Since I cannot find it in myself, I only have this impulse that tells me that there's something we have to do together, but I had no idea what it is. So I need to ask the universe for an answer. And since he didn't have internet in his house, he never wrote to me on a weekend. And he told me, I'm never going to write you on a weekend because I don't have internet in my house. So we can only communicate weekdays. And I said, okay. And I was meditating in nature one day, and I said to the universe, please, I need a sign. And normally when I ask for signs, I ask for impossible signs, because in that way I would know that there was a synchronicity that is answering me through this synchronicity what I was asking for. And okay, I was meditating. I said, please, universe, please help me. If he is my soulmate, a twin flame, if he's some sort of important relationship in my life, I need a sign. And the sign I want to receive today is that since it was Sunday, okay, I want him to write me an email today. It's been almost, possibly it was a year. He never wrote to me on a weekend. He said he was never going to write to me on a weekend. I said, okay, give me that sign. I need an email from him today. So it took me like 5 more minutes to finish my meditation. And when I ended my meditation, I went back to the room, and I saw my cell phone flashing those lights as it does when there's messages or emails. And I approached my cell phone very skeptic. I mean, I was not even expecting an email from him, because I said, you know, he already trained me that I was never going to receive an email from him on a Saturday or a Sunday, because he won't write. And so I sat down and started looking through the emails, and suddenly an email from him said, I can't believe it. I froze completely. And I said, I can't believe it. I mean, what's happening? What's going on? I mean, I can't believe it. Obviously, if I didn't want to believe it, I was not going to believe it. And I sat down in that state of incredulity, and I read an email that he sent, and the time that it had arrived was exactly the same time as I was meditating, asking for the sign. Is this synchronicity, or is this a sign of the universe, or both? At first I said, oh my God, this is a sign of the universe. This must be a very important relationship. I mean, this is it. But obviously the rational mind interferes, and it tells me, no, I mean, it was just a coincidence. It was, you know, synchronicity. It was not a sign of the universe. Besides, you know, sooner or later he was going to write you on a weekend anyway. And I said, yes, of course, but why that day? After a whole year he never wrote on a weekend. Why that day? Specifically that day. Are we connected? Is he responding to my petition to the universe? Are we really that connected that he can actually feel the impulse to write to me on that day? I don't know exactly what made him write to me that day. He probably doesn't either, but it happened. And that was the first time that I received, when I asked the universe for a sign, that was obviously hooking me more into staying in this situation. How could I say no? Even though he was totally unaware of what was going on, he never had any mystical experiences. It was me who was getting all the mystical experiences. He was never even bothering with something like that. But he was connected and hooked to the relationship as well. And that is why I decided to continue. I'll tell you more of other signs that simply kept coming and kept coming, but more of that in the next videos. Thank you very much for sharing and being part of the story. If you want to leave your comments or questions, share your stories, please do that under the link I'm going to leave here in the video blog in the description area. That takes you directly to the blog where other people can read and share also their stories and get the feedback that we need nowadays regarding these amazing other dimension kind of connections. Until the next time, see ya.